Welcome to the Take Your Power Back Show with Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach Kim Yeater. Today's empowering program will encourage you to step into your power, to take action in your leadership, and allow your voice to be heard. Listen in today as we speak to other freedom-loving Americans that are making a positive impact in the world by standing in truth amid adversity. Learn how to take your power back in your freedom, in your personal and professional life, in technology and creativity, and in your faith. Be inspired. Be encouraged. Be transformed. Together, let's take your power back with our host, Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach, Kim Yeater.
Well, hello, my freedom-loving patriots. Welcome to the Take Your Power Back Show. I'm your host, Peak Performance Master Coach Kim Yeater. Today's empowering program, again, will encourage you to step into your God-given power, access your leadership, and allow your voice to be heard. We are diving in today to a critical and timely conversation about human trafficking, modern slavery, and the fight for justice, with two extraordinary women leading the charge. As we're speaking now, the Jeffrey Epstein case continues to make headlines, with the Department of Justice releasing phase 1 of declassified Epstein files on February 27th, 2025, including flight logs and redacted contact books, though many criticize the release for lacking new revelations. Attorney General Pam Bondi has accused the FBI of withholding thousands of additional documents, demanding their delivery, while public frustration grows over the absence of rumored client list. Joining us to unpack this complex issue are Hope Beryl-Green, a courageous survivor of sex slavery and founder of There Is Freedom Ministries, and Bonnie Rice, a veteran victim advocate and subject matter expert with over 15 years of experience serving trafficking victims. Together, they shed light on what's at stake and how we can take action. Let's get started and invite them on into the room. Ladies, welcome to the Take Your Power Back Show. Let's get you all unmuted because your voices matter. Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
It's truly an honor. And, it's funny because when we met in the back room before we started, and I looked at you, just the first thought that came to mind was warrior princesses. I am in the space of warrior princesses. These are the women who fight on. These are the women, you are the women that stand for the freedom of those that have been victimized. So I am so grateful that you're here. I want to give our audience just a little bit about all of you, okay? To give them some perspective on your journey, and then we're going to take the deeper dive. Hope Beryl-Green, a Jeffrey Epstein courageous survivor of sex slavery, rescued at age 30 after being born into unimaginable darkness. Now a passionate abolitionist. Hope, her name is so fitting, is exposing the hidden truths of sex slavery and mind control with her unique perspective, backed by a bachelor's degree in psychology, graduate experience in human relations, and a theology degree with ordination. She's the founder of There Is Freedom Ministries, a 501(c) nonprofit, and the author of To Tell the Truth, available on Amazon. Hope speaks nationwide, from colleges to, yes, the Supreme Court, empowering others to recognize and combat modern slavery. Joining Hope is Bonnie Rice, a dedicated victim advocate with over 15 years of experience providing direct services to adult and child victims of human trafficking. Certified as an advocate for victims of sexual assault, human trafficking, and domestic violence, Bonnie has trained with the FBI, Homeland Security, and the Riverside County Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force. with a master's degree in sociology from New Mexico State University, focusing on immigration and trafficking. Oh, this is going to be a good part of the conversation today. She's a recognized subject matter expert who now runs her own nonprofit, or actually for-profit, training institute to educate communities and end violence. Ladies, I want to thank you both for being here today to share your powerful stories and insights. Let's dive in.
Thank you.
Hope,
Excellent.
your story is incredibly powerful. Can you share a bit about your journey from being born into sex slavery to becoming a rescued survivor and now a leading voice for abolition?
Absolutely. So as you said, I was born into sex trafficking, into sex slavery. There's not a time that I don't that I remember that I was not sold for sex. So it, my earliest memories, that's where it began, and my traffickers really posed as parents that looked like a normal middle class family,
Hope,
um,
let's hang on a
kind
second.
of
We've
living.
got some kind of feedback going on. Let me try a couple things. Okay, Bonnie, I'm going to mute you out right now only because I'm getting some feedback. And Hope, I'm going to have you speak up a little louder. I want everyone to hear every word that you say. Back to you, Hope.
Sure. Thank you. Well, I was born into sex trafficking, sex slavery, because it actually is slavery. There's more slaves today than there has been throughout all of history in this country. And my traffickers looked like a normal class family, looked like they were living the American dream. They were teachers, coaches in the school. So everything
Yeah.
about my life was controlled and manipulated really from birth. And then I was actually sold and given ownership over to Epstein when I was 5 years old. So,
Wow.
it began very early.
Hmm.
Um, and he trafficked me to many government leaders and a lot of people from overseas. Of course, I was very young, so I didn't know who these people were. He would just bring them in um, and pretty much display us as children to be purchased. So,
I think that you just
that
pause there for
that
a
began
second,
it.
Hope. Oh, I'm so sorry, Hope. I just want to acknowledge you because I know that this is not an easy story to tell. And the fact that this happened from literally the birthing room into being sold into sex slavery, and from 5 years old, you were handed over to Epstein. And this, for most people,
Right.
is very hard for people to hear, that this Epstein situation is a very real situation. And the human trafficking issue this is the most historical time of sex slavery and human slavery. So the fact that you have the courage to come out right now just says so much about you. And I know there's so many people that you're going to be able to really help today and really shed light on this issue. Back to you, Hope.
Yeah. So, and that's my main goal is there's so many people, even with the Epstein case, um, children are still being trafficked by these people. They've never been exposed and they've never been brought to justice. So they are continuing to traffic children. It doesn't just stop. It's a continual thing that they do. So I was trafficked. He really gave ownership over to Epstein to traffic in more corporate ways, like larger groups that would come in from, like I said, from all over the country. Normally, they would keep us in. It was more underground for me in my situation. They never really allowed me to know exactly the location that I was in. I knew the state or a roundabout, but I was blindfolded and I wasn't allowed to know the exact location. But a lot of it was done underground. A lot of people, have a hard time believing, but it is proven that there are a lot of underground trafficking that's going on. And with the trafficking and a lot of the MK Ultra programming going on, and we were always told the children that were being raped and being sold that if we performed good enough, that we would be able to go upstairs to the ones that were allowed to be in regular everyday life with, the ones that you were seeing that were older and were trafficked. So, unfortunately, a lot of it has been buried as far as being brought out into the open, really the level of evil that was being done to children.
Gosh,
So,
Hope.
yeah.
Well, Hope, let me ask Bonnie. Bonnie, is this common? Like what you're hearing from Hope right now, is this common that at times it can start from birth and, being trafficked as early on? Is that?
It's not as uncommon as you would hope. And I actually raised a daughter that we adopted that was trafficked. The youngest incident they can document was 18 months. And that's been documented by the FBI by videos that were put out. So yeah, it's really not that uncommon. It is, 90% of trafficking victims are trafficked by a family member. So a large percentage of them include parents. And so there are parents, yes, who definitely, they sell their children for sex from almost infant stage on, as well as they continue to profit from that. And then, once the children get older, they just sell them outright to a buyer.
I
So
mean,
no, it's not
Mhm.
uncommon.
It's crazy when you hear of these things, because we've all been hearing the stories of the Epstein case, and there's still so much information we don't know. And so, Hope, I know as people are listening in, we want to know the pivotal moment that gave you the strength to speak out. But before we get to that pivotal moment, we got to go a little bit deeper. And what I mean is this. Hope, we are going to go deep, and there's some things that are going to be tough for people to talk about. They're going to want to get your book because that's where you expose it all. And we'll talk about that book in a moment. But give us the names and the places, the names of the people and the places, some of the places that at least you knew where you were being trafficked. Can you do that?
Right. Well, a lot of my programming or kind of the persona that they sold me with, because it's like we're products that they're selling and displaying for people to purchase,
Yeah.
was Kentucky, all Kentucky girl at the races, the Kentucky Derby. People come from all over the world and purchase children. It's really a corporate um, gathering for traffickers to come and to purchase children. And then also for me with Epstein, uh, I did, I am actually about to be 53. I hate to say
Wow.
that, but I am about to be
You're
53
beautiful,
and
beautiful. 53 years
Own
old.
it all. Own
Amazing.
it all.
Just getting started, right? Come on. Taking
right,
your life back,
exactly.
taking your power back.
Right. But as far as on the island, there was ownership before he even took the island. They already had ownership of it. And so there was a lot underground that was done to me there. I was taken on a cruise ship um, and transferred over there. Like I said, I don't know specifics exactly the locations because I was blindfolded and they would not allow me to know the specific location where I was. But I know that it was underground and it was overseas as far as Caribbean wise. And then also I was taken to New York and trafficked with Epstein. The Bidens were involved and the Clintons were also involved with all of the trafficking and
Okay,
the
let's
programming and
hang right there
all of
for
the
a
things
second.
that they were doing.
Okay, so when we say, because I know this is such a general thing we've all heard, those of us that are in the truth world, that the Clintons, the Bidens were involved, but let's actually really look at that. How were they involved? Would you please be specific so that our listeners really get this?
Yeah, absolutely. So they were involved in a lot of government programming, really trying to infiltrate the U.S. and really trying to cause the collapse of this country through trafficking, through putting children and really programming them to kind of be against the country, do things contrary to this country, but they were very involved in the trafficking, the raping of children. There was a lot of children around when I was being raped and trafficked. The main thing, they always like to pit you against each other. So they use our Jesus heart really, and they try to cause pain and torment because you're watching somebody else get hurt or being forced to hurt someone else. And so they really put foundationally that you're evil and you're the cause of this. So why would you ever want to tell anybody? Because that really exposes you as evil and bad, and that you caused this. That you're the one that is responsible.
Mm. You know, it's funny. I can't, it's not funny, but I can't fully relate to you. But how I can relate is, I was a survivor of domestic violence. And so, in my experience, the mind manipulation was a very big deal. And when you just said they use your Jesus heart, oh my gosh, Satan is so deceptive. So we get so entangled, right? And I know there was a scripture, back then that just stood out to me. It says, in the end times, mankind will be abusers, treacherous, rash, conceited, proud, lovers of money, boastful, the kind that worm their way into a weak-willed woman's home, have nothing to do with them, for such a person is depraved. Now, it's not like they worked their way into your home, but in some ways, your home worked their way into them, right? And then in my case, that was the
Right.
case. I was that weak-willed woman. I didn't have that belief in myself because of the abuse I had gone through. But what I want to get to right now is, Bonnie, would you distinctly share with me the character of a perpetrator, what we need to look for so that parents are aware? Because there are those that get sucked in and don't even know it, whether it be through the acting world or the modeling world. So can you shed some light there for us?
Yes, and that's one of the scary things is it can be anyone. And one of the most important things to remember for parents is that, again, like I said, people are trafficked by people they know. They're trafficked by family members. They're trafficked by family friends. I mean, the statistics are staggering. So the idea of now the onset of the internet and social media has increased the victimization by strangers to a greater degree. However, the danger lies within, really. So it's the grooming tactics that you really have to start looking for. Someone's paying extra attention to a child, or someone who is overly eager to help out in ways that maybe other people aren't. And so it becomes with those grooming tactics, it becomes very tricky, because do you just have a really nice person who just wants to help out? Or do you have someone who is, being nice to set up this situation where they can be exploitative? So it's a real balancing act where you have to really know what's going on and just be aware of where your children are and who they're with.
Yeah.
I know there's instances where boyfriends take girlfriends to parties in high school and sell them in a back room, and now all of a sudden she is a sex slave. Then you add in the whole other layer of labor trafficking, which is a whole nother dimension to the human trafficking epidemic. And you really do have just opportunities all around us for that exploitation to take place, for someone to exert that force, fraud, or coercion that
Yeah.
forces someone to do something. So it's really that manipulative, coercive behavior that eventually comes out that is really the big flag.
Gosh, let's take a look at some of the human statistics, human trafficking statistics. We see movies that have been done, right? But they're talking about what's happening outside of the country very often. There's actually a lot happening within this country. This is the country, the hub for sex slavery and human trafficking. So human trafficking statistics are tough to pinpoint precisely because it is a hidden crime. Data only captures what's reported or detected. Still, there's a clear picture based on the more reliable global and US focused numbers available in 2025. So, for example, the International Labor Organization estimates 49.6 million people are in modern slavery worldwide. Like you said, including forced labor and forced marriage. Of these, 27.6 million are in forced labor and 12 million are children. The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime reported a 25% increase in detected trafficking in 2022 compared to 2019, with 38% of detected victims being children. 31% increase in child victims, and girls are primarily trafficked for sexual exploitation, boys for forced labor or criminality. Sexual exploitation accounts for 79% of trafficking cases globally, followed by forced labor at about 18%. So in some regions like West Africa, children make up nearly all the victims. In 2022, 162 nationalities. This is a human catastrophe. We're trafficked to 128 countries. Though 58% of victims are trafficked with their own countries, forced commercial sexual exploitation generates 173 billion in illegal profits annually. Now, in the United States, the National Human Trafficking Hotline reports, and these numbers are nothing compared to what really is, 100,891 cases of human trafficking since its inception, involving 97,000 victims as of 2025. These numbers only reflect reported cases. There's so much more. The FBI estimates 199,000 incidents occur annually in the US through underreported, and there's a lot underreported, of course. I could go on with the statistics. We're not here for the statistics, but I want people to get that right now. There's a lot being exposed in the Trump administration. This exposure needs to be on the top. Pam Bondi. This needs to be on the top of the list. President Trump, this needs to be on the top of the list. And I imagine this is a house of cards or like a Jenga game. It's going to come out piece by piece so it doesn't all crash. I believe the American people are ready. We need to bring it. We need to expose it. And we need to have these conversations. Hope, back to you. I want to go back to the moment, if you can. I'm going to have you fill in what you need to fill in. And then I want you to take us a deeper dive into a situation. Give us a situation of your personal experience to land that plane. And then what that awakening was for you, the pivotal moment that gave you the strength to speak out.
Right. Well, one thing I do want to make really clear, you know, a lot of this, of course, it's demonic in nature, but most of them are somehow involved in satanic rituals. A lot of it's rooted in that. It's definitely something that people need to realize. They hate children, they hate God more than that. And of course, they want to hurt any of God's children. That's their main focus and goal. But for me, that to give you kind of a situation or an idea of what they do, that a lot of what they do is to try to cause so much trauma that your mind really dissociates because the trauma is so severe. It's
Sure.
really done on purpose, and the whole reason that they do that is so that they can pretty much control every part of your being.
Yeah.
That you
Yeah.
will do whatever they say, whenever they say, um, and you'll be pretty much a robot. And they form you to what they want you to be or what they want you to look like. That's done through there's a lot of electric shock. Like I said, a lot of rituals, satanic rituals, and things like that, to really cause terror. Adrenochrome is a real thing.
So
There's really not a
adrenochrome
level.
is a real thing. And you have an
Yes,
experience with that where you've seen that, haven't you?
yes, I absolutely have seen that. And, you know, a lot of the symbolism where you see the red face, um, that looks um, like a stick figure, really. It's
Yeah.
really saying, we tormented and tortured kids to the point of mutilating them and tormenting them to terror so that they can get demonic power from that through their blood and things like that. But I definitely did witness that. I experienced a lot of that, unfortunately. But it's very hard for people to believe that there's that depth of evil. But
Yeah.
what I try to let people know is that, in the Bible it says Satan comes as an angel of light, and
That's
even
right.
more so his followers. So on the outside, they look very, very good, but behind closed doors, they're completely different. And the demons give them the ability to carry that persona so that they can get away with what they're doing.
Mm. You spoke a moment ago about dissociation, right? There's two ways to say it, disassociation or dissociation, right? And I
Mhm.
remember as a little girl leaving my body. Like I remember some of the trauma I had been through and like literally leaving my body. So when I was studying to be a master practitioner in neurolinguistic programming, timeline therapy, there was a lot of work that I went through that I had to go through my own breakthrough work. And it had been years of really a process of peeling back, but the healing really came through God's word, through learning who I really truly was on a deep, intimate level, a daughter of the King, a daughter of the Creator, that I was loved, that I was good enough. But I remember having to navigate through being dissociated. So in my breakthrough work, I was able to, in those moments, chunk up to the highest level to be able to see it from a bird's eye view where I could step outside of it and get the recognition that, oh my gosh, this had nothing to do with me. I wasn't a bad girl. This had nothing to do with me. And it gave me power. I was able to chunk up to the highest levels of, peace, freedom, ease. I'm loved. And it really released the level of slavery I was in that association, so that now I could look at the situation through the eyes of being there. And what I saw was completely different. And I was now empowered. It was just so powerful. And really, Hope, that's your story so much because you have been able to take your power back. And we could list names of all those people. We could go specific into the details of that ugliness and the satanic rituals, but that's not what we're going to do right now because people need to get your book in order to do that. And they can get your book at hopeberyl.com. That's Hope Beryl. Actually, hold on. Help say that for me. Help Beryl.
HopeBeryl-Green.com. Or
And
you could
no
just look
hyphen there,
on
correct?
Amazon and it's to tell the truth. No. Mm-mm.
Okay, fantastic. We're going to fix that. We're going to fix that. So it's hopeberyl-green.com, correct? Okay. So
Yes.
people need to get this book. Here, we're going to put that up one more time. That should be correct. Okay, hopeberyl-green.com. Go get the book, To Tell the Truth. So you don't hold back in that book, do you?
No, the Lord told me to really put it all out there, like to not leave any details out. So it's very difficult to read, but I mean, the Lord just wanted, He said, I hope it's like a seatbelt. If you know that there's going to be a car accident, don't you want to put your seatbelt on ahead of time? And that's really the whole point of the book, is to let people know so they know how to fight, and they know how that they could help people that have, been through the things that I've been through, because there are tons and tons of people that need to get set free.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? So give us the pivotal moment that gave you the strength to speak out. And then I'd love Bonnie to kind of piggyback off of this, because I want to know if this is common, your experience. Can people do this without the creator? That's my question. I know 1% of perpetrators change. And if it is not a God change, there is no transformation. Okay, change is to put on a different outfit. So to truly transform, that is through God's power. So back to you, Hope. What was the pivotal moment that gave you the strength to speak out?
Well, for me, because it was so ingrained from really infancy, there was so many layers to work through. These people, they specifically send you places to really discredit. So they had sent me to a Christian ministry that were actually getting a lot of headway with helping SRA people that have been through the things that I've been through, to help them get free. So they began to really minister to me, to pray for me, and to allow those memories to just flood back. And as they would flood back, then we would just kind of go to Jesus and say, what do you want to say about this?
Yes.
What Where were you when this was going on? And to really minister to my
Mm,
mind and my spirit, and to help me to really heal. And so through that process, it took honestly about 7 years,
wow.
layer by layer, for me to get enough healing to completely get free, and to leave everything, and didn't know anybody, moved. Um, it was a very scary time for me, because I knew that they had ways through the police department and judges and lawyers and things like that, that they could find where I was. But the Lord just really put a fire around me, and He protected me and got me out of it. I think the key thing was that the Lord had to show me that I deserved freedom, and that it was okay for me to be free, that I didn't have to fear myself, because I'd been so programmed and so just beat into me that I was evil, and that God wanted me to be hurt, that I deserved to be hurt, that I could not have freedom, because who knows what you would do, because you're so evil. But I got enough truth from Him to know that, I deserve to be set free. And, through the years, it's been that key of really the Lord showing me who I am, who He says that I am, at the core of my being. Um, and it's totally opposite of what they said. So that really was the key for me. And uh, that really helped unlock the possibility for me to get out, because they control your mind.
Yeah.
It's like slaves, they, when they were enslaved and they got freedom, they didn't know that they could be free. In their minds, they still
Yes.
thought, well, this is what I deserve, this is what it's always going to be.
Yeah.
So it's like a strategic plan of the Lord, kind of
That's right.
disassembling all of that, and
That's right.
bringing
They
healing.
they use that in training an elephant. From a very young age, an elephant has a chain around one of its leg, and it walks around in a circle, and they train that elephant. That elephant gets huge in its adult years, but it's so trained to stay on that chain that in a second it could break that chain, but it doesn't, because it's all it knows. It's familiar. right? So it's that same kind of
Exactly.
manipulative training. So this really is about accessing our freedom. And that's exactly what you did. You accessed your true freedom. Everybody in this country of America deserves that freedom. And I'll tell you what, when I did that NLP work, I brought Jesus into that. Father, you bless this time. Bless the practitioner today. Bless the practitioner. I pray for healing. Help me to see what I need to see. Clean me out, Father. Bring healing. Help me to understand who I am, right? That was such a big part of it. So I love your story. Bonnie, you got to tell me, is this common? What we're hearing with Hope, is this common for victims of human trafficking and sex slavery from birth, really, from that early age, to undergo a transformation like this?
It's it's not, in order for there to be this transformation, it has to be just like Hope was describing. I was waiting for her to speak of the moment when the desire came from within. And she did. She reached that point, and she said that was the pivotal key, is she just felt that, within herself. And that's really the key to overcoming any type of trafficking situation, is that it's that opportunity for them to step out from it. So we talk about rescuing kids or rescuing people from trafficking, and that's really a sticky situation, because until they have that desire, that understanding, that motivation from within, you don't rescue them. You may pull them out of the situation, but 99 times out of 100, they're going back. And so until they reach that pivotal moment, just like Hope described, where they're enlightened by the Lord, by the whatever, you and I have a similar higher power, but whatever that higher power is for that trafficking victim, until that higher power is able to reach deep within them and allow them to pull themselves out of trafficking, you're really going to see just a return, an ongoing victimization. Even if you remove them from a trafficking situation, they will go find another. So it's really a beautiful thing when you start realizing that you can empower the victims to save themselves, because that's where the true healing comes, the true motivation, the true ability to move forward in that respect, just as Hope described.
Wow, just incredible. This is it's so powerful. I know that there's those that are listening today, whether they're listening live or they're listening to this show in a few days or a week or 2 weeks from now. I really believe that this is going to give so many people incredible, incredible hope. So, Hope, let me ask you, do you know Virginia Giuffre? Did you know her?
No, I did not know her. We were separated really from the ones that we were being trafficked. On the surface, the ones that were a little older, we were very much on purpose separated and kept separate. So I never encountered any of them. For me, it was always young children and very underground, hidden things, instead of kind of what the mainstream media is aware of, and um, you know what has been shared that I've heard so far.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just want to take a second to honor this amazing warrior. Let me just take this banner off real quick, and let's put this up here. So she was the Epstein whistleblower, Victoria Giuffre, and her story is pretty powerful. I want to give you guys just a kind of a little taste. So, for those of you who don't know who she is, the Jeffrey Epstein victim, reportedly hit by a bus in Australia. She was Virginia Giuffre. According to multiple sources, Giuffre was involved in a crash with a school bus on March 24th, 2025, in Narragaby, Western Australia, and 12 miles north of Perth. She was a passenger in a car driven by a 71-year-old woman when the collision occurred, which police described as a minor crash, with approximately $2,000 in damage to the car and no injuries initially reported. Giuffre posted on Instagram on March 30th, a few days later, claiming severe injuries including kidney failure, and stated she had 4 days to live. Though her spokesperson later clarified the post was meant for a private Facebook page and that she was not dying. She was hospitalized and released on April 7, 2025, but tragically died by what they're calling suicide on April 25th, 2025, at her farm in Nirgaby. Giuffre was a prominent accuser of Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Prince Andrew, alleging she was trafficked for sex as a teenager. Many of us have heard her story. She is a warrior. And I really believe that there was not suicide here. I believe that this was another one of those cases where she was suicided off. Okay. So I just want to honor her. I want to say thank you. May God bless her, her family, all those that were part of her healing that got to experience her presence. Today she is honored, and it is because of her that other warriors are standing up and speaking up. So thank you, Virginia Giuffre. And thank you, Hope, for your courage to share. And I know there's so much more that we really want to be able to share today. And I don't want to stop here. I want to dig on in. And can you go a little bit more when you speak about deep darkness of Illuminati, sex slavery, and mind control, without giving away too much from your book? Can you explain what you mean by this and how it impacts victims and society at large? Like maybe bring us into a moment that you can remember that you went through it.
Right. Well, for me, and for many other people, we were taken for the first foundational years, 0 to 5, to pretty much cause our mind to be completely under their control, through rituals, through setting up triggers, words where they disassociate you and cause parts to be present when certain words are said, when certain gestures are said, parts that do know what's going on, parts that don't know what's going on. And they do that through extreme torture, for me, for example, sticking pins in me, like all over, to where it's just torturous, putting electricity, through my body to where it is torment. It's just excruciating pain. Using a lot of perversion to cause your body to have certain reactions so that you feel like you're completely evil, because you have those sexual feelings and you can't stop them. They're forced on you. It's just continual, every, beyond imaginable, the things that they come up with to cause torment. I mean, they know how the brain works. They know how to split your mind intentionally. So that was done from really like birth to about 5 years old in a hospital setting. There were many other children that were there at the time.
Hope, it's really funny how having this conversation with you brings up things for me. And, when you're talking about parts, this is a part of you, right? So they basically distinguish these parts of you through the trauma. So when I do that breakthrough work of timeline therapy, we're actually integrating those parts back into the self because we are whole beings, right? But I can tell you that because of those parts of me that had separated from the whole, in my younger years, there was lots of masturbation. And I'm not sure if that's something, I know this is a little bit more intimate, this conversation right now, but it was to the point where it was like an addiction. And it was to the point, and then I would feel bad and wrong and evil and dark and ugly. And I remember how in the process, years later of going through the healing, I would have dreams. And in those dreams, I would be walking by a mirror and I would see myself in this dark, dark, dark house that every room you went in went darker and darker. And I was rescuing my children, getting us out of this dark place. I remember going by this mirror and I looked at myself, and what I saw was demon, right? I saw dark. And that was a big part of the awakening for me of that demonized child within me, that my perpetrator demonized me. I took that on as an identity. Part of me separated from my whole. So that moment that I was able to give my little girl back her power, to let my little girl know that I am loved, I am chosen, the creator is with me, it was so healing. And these are things that I'm not enslaved to anymore. It's literally like deep, cleaned out healing. Bonnie, do you find that with the amazing women that you've been able to work with, and men like Hope, that they are able to get to the other side, really have that sense of peace, freedom, and ease, and live a life where they can stand up like Hope, they can speak their truth and be free?
Unfortunately, I would say that the majority struggle for the rest of their lives. They don't come out on the other side. There are many that do, and those are the testimonies that we get. Those are the witness statements that that are brought forth. The books, like Hope's written her book, that come out and give us a momentary glimpse into what this is like. But a lot of them continue to live in that space for the rest of their lives, and they learn to function. I'm not saying that well, a lot of them don't, but there are a lot that learn to function, but they learn to function in that survival mode, in that let me just get through this moment mode, even when things aren't as terrorizing or as drastic as they once were. So unfortunately, it is a lifelong struggle for most of them. There's very few that would say, like you said, that they're not a slave to that anymore. So you can just look at the numbers. Look at the number of people that have come forward compared to the number of victims we know that there are.
Yeah.
And there aren't as many victims that come forward. And Hope nailed it when she said they know how the mind works. They know what to do. They know what to do to make the children, not believe themselves, let alone have enough courage to come forward. And not just the children, but adults, and of all ethnicities, of all races, genders, all of it. They know how to manipulate, and they know how to manipulate to the point where they're not going to come forward because they are just so damaged. And in saying that, I don't want to say that they are damaged people. I want to say that they have had damage caused to them by the traffickers.
Yeah, and what can happen is the cycle, we stick with what's familiar.
Absolutely.
So they end up continuing in some type of enslavement. But I think you have a word today, Hope. I know, Bonnie, you have a word too, but Hope, I'm going to pass it back to you. A word today for those that are in this situation, maybe those that have come out, but they're
Right.
still enslaved.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's what all this is about. Every bit of it, sharing my story and the ones that are sharing. It's not about us, it's about helping other people get set free because they're enslaved. They're actually in complete and total slavery. I just feel like, that I would encourage them to let the Lord minister to every part of their mind. A lot of uh, people, unfortunately, in the religious area, will call a part of their mind a demon instead of, acknowledging that that's just a part of who they are.
Right,
Um,
right.
but allowing that the part of their mind to let the Lord come in and speak truth about who they are and what happened to them and how he sees things. The Lord showed me that even though they were hurting my body and my mind, he held me in the palm of his hand, that he held my
Mm,
spirit.
that's
So
right.
it's just allowing the Lord to bring that healing to your spirit, and don't do it alone. I mean, there's so many people now that are willing, and they know more. And the people that rescued me, they prayed for me, they ministered to me, they gave me a place to live and a car and a job. One person doesn't have to do all of it, but if each person would do what they're called to do, these people would have these victims and survivors would have a safe place to heal. Because, I have been in this healing journey for over 20 years now, and it is very, um, sometimes excruciating, allowing the memories to come up and letting the Lord heal that. But I think more than anything is learning the identity that at the core of our being, we are loved and cared for, and we're pure and holy in all the things that happen to us and were done to us, and the things they made us do does not change how Jesus sees us.
So well said. So well said. And I think that everybody needs to get your book. I'm going to pull that book up right now. This is Hope's book, To Tell the Truth by Hope Beryl-Green. And let's actually take this banner off because I want you to see this picture. It's a beautiful picture of, it looks like Jesus writing in the sand. Tell us about this book
Yeah.
real quick and how people can access it, Hope.
Right. Actually, the picture on the front of the cover is Jesus picking up a gemstone, a precious gemstone,
Ah,
the beryl green. So the Lord changed my name, and I changed my name legally. But He took me to the verse in Song of Solomon that talks about Jesus's hands being like gold set with beryl. So he had
yes.
me in the palm of his hand that whole time, and he just uh, reached me up out of all of those sands of lies and torture and rape and evil, and he saw me, and he saw me as a gemstone. So that's what the Lord showed me, and why that picture's on there. But
Amazing.
it's very deep dive into MK Ultra and sex trafficking, and really educate people to know the truth of what they're doing, and hopefully encourage victims to see that they can get set free too.
Come on, To Tell the Truth by Hope Beryl-Green. You can go to hopeberyl-green.com. That's hopeberyl-green.com. Guys, go get your book. Support Hope as she is supporting so many of the survivors right now. Amazing, 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 Bonnie. To piggyback off of Hope, there's a word that you have today. I mean, you have an organization that is built on setting people free, bonnietraining.com. You have been a spokesman in this arena, spokeswoman in this arena. And what is your word for the people today?
The word I would give is a support. And today I'm wearing a denim jacket today, not something I would usually wear in this type of forum, but today is Denim Day. It's April 30th this year, and Denim Day is an international day where
I didn't get
people
the
wear.
memo.
Oh, I tagged you in the post.
Oh, man. My
No.
background has denim. Go on. What is it?
Okay, well, Denim Day is in 1998, the Italian Supreme Court overturned a rape case conviction because they said that the woman who was raped was wearing jeans that were too tight, that the perpetrator could not have gotten them off without her help, therefore implying her consent because she had to have helped remove her pants. So in response to that, when the Italian Supreme Court overturned that verdict, that conviction, the women in parliament wore denim. They chose a day and they all wore denim to parliament, which, of course, in that arena would stand out. So that has grown into an international movement where one day, April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So one day in April every year is designated as Denim Day.
Wow.
And yeah, so today is Denim Day, and it's really a day where we wear denim to show that we support and that we believe. We start by believing. And so when you come forward with a story and you bring it to us as as advocates, as those who want to help, we don't question, well, what happened? We believe you and we move forward from that point. And so I'm wearing this denim today to support survivors of all sexual violence, rape, sexual assault, human trafficking, domestic violence, and to say that we stand with you and we support you and we believe you. And so with my training institute, Bonnie R Training, it is another opportunity to show support through education. It is an opportunity to educate corporate leaders, to educate community members, community leaders as to what is going on, especially with human trafficking, to let people know it's happening in our neighborhoods, on our streets, and we are encountering victims every day, even if we don't see them. See them as victims. So it's just an opportunity, like I said, to educate and to spread awareness.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful that you're doing this, Bonnie. I mean, you've worked directly with unaccompanied migrant children. You've seen the
Correct.
intersection of trafficking and immigration. So I want everybody that is in that arena to be able to reach out to you because they're going to be able to get the expertise necessary. And we're going to need to do just another show specifically on that, especially with us leading the Take Our Border Back movement across the country. We see this. We have teams that have rescued these children. And the fact that you can speak to that is absolutely incredible. And I want our audience to know that there is a facility called Peace of Heaven being built right now in Live Oak, California. This was a prison that is being bought out. We're still raising another $2 million for it through Peace of Heaven. And with an event coming up called Revelation 17 in June, which everybody needs to be at. You can look up Peace of Heaven. Rev 17 is the event coming up to raise funds. But this prison is being gutted, it's being prayed over, and it's going to be transformed into a piece of heaven for those that have been trafficked. Because now that people like Hope are coming out, people like Valerie are coming out, people are speaking the truth, and we, the people, are standing for the Epstein files to be fully exposed. The name, the client list, all of it. These children are going to start to come out. We're going to be able to rescue these children and have a safe haven for them, not run by the government, but run by we, the people, with the experts to provide the healing and God's hand on it, which is going to be so, so, so incredible. Now, for Hope, you have Freedom Ministries. I want to remind people that it's not just the book. She is your speaker. She is your expert in this arena. And you're also speaking to helping others transform, Hope. Yes?
Absolutely. Yeah. As far as knowing your identity, learning grace, because, as a trafficking survivor going through all of that, you really are taught that you have to be perfect. You have to do everything perfect. And no matter what you do, it's never the right thing to do. You always get hurt. But there's a lot of performance that you have to do, even for basic going to the bathroom or having food or anything like that. So it's really breaking down, all of that. And, religion can sometimes do that to you as well, but learning the grace of Jesus, having compassion for yourself, allowing yourself to rest and in that identity. A lot of that was my healing, and just want other survivors to be able to live in that peace as well.
Come on. Come on. And the time is now. There's a very specific reason. Hope has a clock behind her. The time for healing is now. This is the opportunity for all of us to take our power back. God is good. God is for us. Hope Beryl-Green, thank you so much for being the warrior that you are. Thank you for being with us today. We are going to have you on again. We've passed your information over to a couple of people that want to have you on their show. So we're going to definitely be getting back in touch with you. HopeBeryl-Green.com. Hope, we love
Thank
you. God
you.
bless you. And Bonnie, thank you so much for bringing your wisdom, your expertise, your knowledge to the table today. BonnieTraining.com. That's BonnieTraining.com.
Kim, really
Yes.
quickly, it's Bonnie R Training with the R in
Oh
there.
my gosh. Did I mess that up? Okay. Well, here's the
It's
great thing
okay.
is that there is grace and we get to fix that right
Absolutely.
now. So we fix that, saving it and playing it.
Love it.
BonnieRTraining.com. That's been on our mind the whole time. BonnieRTraining.com. Bonnie, thank you. Hope. Thank you, ladies. May God bless you
Thank
abundantly.
you.
I pray in the name of Jesus that no weapon forged against you will prosper. You will refute every tongue that accuses you. This is the vindication that comes from me, declares the Lord. You are loved. You are chosen. God is with you. Go and speak boldly, and may his mighty angels surround you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Love you, ladies. Guys, what an amazing show. And I took me out of the room. You gotta love that. What an incredible show today. And it is really a privilege to have warriors like Bonnie and Hope on. And it's because of these warriors that we're able to do shows like this, because you, the listeners, say, you know what? These are the stories we want to hear. Everything is so dark out there. Yeah, when they release the list, the Epstein list, and we find out these elected officials, these people in high governments and principalities of darkness are all involved in this. That is, if we don't have our rock set on who we are, have our rock set on the one true God and his Savior that gives us true freedom, then we are going to be absolutely in an upheaval when the crap hits the fan, and it's going to hit the fan. So stories like this are so powerful because they remind us that our hope is not here. Our hope is in heaven. Our hope is in what's possible. Our hope is in knowing who we are, having that relationship with our Creator. So I pray that today you are encouraged, you are inspired. Dig into the word, dig into the word, dig into the word, dig into the word. You see my Bible, it's pretty well used. Yes, yes, dig into the word, dig into the word. And it's really important. Go back to the Hebrew and the Greek, start digging on in. Don't listen to the lies. There's a lot of deception right now. Go back to the original Hebrew and the Greek, the concordance, so that you can decipher and pray that God gives you the wisdom and discernment, and he will unfold it. Now, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor. Our sponsor for today's show is absolutely incredible. And whenever I say our sponsor is incredible, I say they're incredible because they are. This is our sponsor, PatriotsBuyingAmerican.com. That's PatriotsBuyingAmerican.com. Because of PatriotsBuyingAmerican.com, we have the ability to take our power back. That's right, to take our power back. Go to PatriotsBuyingAmerican.com. You get to take your power back from all the big box retailers, the products that you're finding on the shelves, the illusion of choice, the deception, Procter & Gamble, Colgate and Palmolive, Johnson & Johnson. All those products have junk in the trunk, parabens, alcohol, sulfates, triclosan, quaternary disinfectants. Are you tired of being sick? Are you tired of not having circulation in the body? Are you tired of having gut issues? Are you tired of having to get put on medication? There's another way. Tap into America's best brand of 2025, said by USA Today. It is PatriotsBuyingAmerican.com. You go to patriotsamerican.com. It's going to download a video to you, and you get to take your power back. You'll have all the resources available, and my team of experts will personally reach out to you. That's patriotsbuyingamerican.com. Guys, it's time to take our power back, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to take our power back with patriotsbuyingamerican.com. Better, safer, less expensive, and more importantly, we're going to take our power back by standing in truth, by exposing the truth. And a big thank you to Hope and Bonnie. Their courage, their expertise, and passion are truly inspiring. Patriot, you've heard it here today. Human trafficking is a fight we can all join by educating ourselves, recognizing the signs, and taking action. To learn more about Hope's work, you know where to go, hopeberyl-green.com. And to learn more about Bonnie's work, bonnier.training.com. Stay tuned, guys, because we've got a great show coming to you tomorrow. If you've been watching the Take Your Power Back California Governor Face Off, the show we just did with Sheriff Bianco Naranjo, and who else was on that show? Zaki was on that show. Then you're going to want to pay attention to what's next. Tomorrow's show is going to be powerful, 2 p.m. Get ready. And then on May 8th, we'll have our next round of candidates, and then June 12th. So with that being said, thank you for being here, Patriots. I absolutely love you. And remember, share this episode, get involved, and let your voice be heard. This is Kim Yeater from the Take Your Power Back Show, signing out. Until next time, stay empowered. God is with you. Come on. We the people are taking our power back.
Thank you for joining us for the Take Your Power Back Show. As Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach Kim Yeater speaks to other freedom-loving Americans that are making a positive impact in the world by standing in truth amid adversity. Listen in weekly and learn how to take your power back in your freedom, in your personal and professional life, in technology and creativity, and in your faith. Be encouraged, be inspired, be transformed as you step into your power and take action in your leadership and allow your voice to be heard. Together, let's take your power back. To sponsor and support the Take Your Power Back Show, go to takeyourpowerbackshow.com. That's takeyourpowerbackshow.com and take